There's a question from brother Abu Talib from Germany.
Yes, that's right.
He sent his question: هل هنالك من سيأتي بعد الإمام المهدي والمسيح الموعود عليه الصلاة والسلام ولو بعد زمن طويل؟
There can be no objection in any manner of speaking against other reforms appearing later on.
They're beginning now to find out.
It is only the prerogative of God to decide on such matters. Right? But judging from the prophecies of Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I have not found any prophecy of two Imam Mahdis, one after the other, or two Messiahs descending from God. I don't say heavens. So the likelihood could be there. I can't rule it out. But I admit that my knowledge of the tradition does not provide any reason for me to believe that most certainly it would happen. What I read from the Hadith on this subject is that after the Imam Mahdi and Messiah, there will be a long period of healthy, fresh, cool winds of peace and spiritual health. This is my explanation of the Hadith, not the words of Hadith. He speaks of cool breezes, peaceful breezes, and they'll continue to blow all over the world after the advent of the Mahdi and Messiah has been accepted by the world. Then, after a long time, the wind will begin to change and get polluted. And when this pollution takes place, then there will be a long time afterwards that mankind will return to its evil ways as they practiced before, as they were before the advent of the Mahdi and Messiah. But this happens with every people. Every religion has this universal fate. So, according to that tradition, when this will go on, a time would come when the entire mankind will turn into Ashrarun Nas. Like Sharru man tahta adim as-sama, a few Sharru man tahta adim as-sama are becoming unmanageable. Imagine when the entire mankind becomes Ashrarun Nas. God bless the mankind, or may God save the mankind from that utter ultimate disaster. Now, this much we know. Qiyamah would come upon them. The doomsday would occur to destroy such people. But it sometimes happens that one prophet of Allah prophesies about another, and that prophet prophesies for another one after him. So from that phenomenon, let's now turn to Hazrat Masih Maud al-Islam. Did God give him any indication as to others who may follow him? So there are not only indications but very clear.
The remarks will be in 5 minutes.
Okay. Abdul Rahman will be coming in 5 minutes. There are not only indications but a definite revelation vouched to him so clearly and majestically about a reformer son which will be granted to him, but not a Mahdi and not a prophet. A reformer son who will be granted to him to give a permanence to the Reformation or reformative measures which were taken by Hazrat Masih to perpetuate the good work of Masih. It would be that divinely reformed, divinely appointed or divinely destined, not appointed, divinely destined reformer son of Hazrat Masih, who was to take care of the future of Ahmadiyya by instituting certain things in a manner as will be a great blessing and boon from Allah upon the community. And that has happened. Muslim Maud came and went and left behind a system which is a life system of a unique order. Never has mankind ever witnessed such a perfect, well-disciplined system of taking care of the future generations. Jamaat Ahmadiyya is organized by him in various sections. Every member of the Jamaat Ahmadiyya from among men, from the age of 7 up to the age of 15, from the age of 10 to the age of 15, is organized discipline called Ahmadiyya.
7 to 15.
No, 10 to 15. Atfal. Are they from 7 to 15?
Yes, 7 from.
Are you sure?
7 to 15.
Acha.
There's young Atfal and also then there's the older.
Young Atfal and old Atfal. The young Atfal which belong to this group of 7 to 10 are not fully disciplined. They are encouraged to come and participate, but the real discipline begins at the age of 10, not before that. So that is one thing. After 15, up to the age of 40, every Ahmadi youth is bonded in a system which is called Khudam al-Majlis, Khudam al-Ahmadiyya, which takes care of all the spiritual and educational and moral requirements of the youth belonging to this age group. They choose their own heads, they choose their own various members of the executive body and so on and so forth. And every township, every village has this discipline instituted and implemented. So nowhere in the world of Ahmadiyyat you will find a loose man, a loose boy at large to do whatever he may. He is being watched, he is being advised, but without a force, without any coercion, without any compulsion. Just by word of mouth, by advice, by reference to the Quranic teachings, by reference to the expectations of the Prophet of Allah from such people who belong to him. Islam. We take every measure to persuade them short of compulsion, and it pays great results, pays great dividends. Then measures are taken to press them into service of Islam and the service of mankind, and to make them accustomed to the pleasure of good works. So they go on to on the streets to repair the damaged, the sewage, not exactly the sewage, but the damaged channels which in poor countries carry the filth, etc. Once they are damaged, they spread out in the streets and create other problems. They repair poor people's bad roads. They repair poor people's houses when they are damaged by floods and other natural calamities. And they distribute medicines at the time of epidemics and so on, preventive medicines. They go from village to village to offer free dispensary or free medical aid to the poor people who can't pay for the treatment. And such camps are organized in almost every country of the world. Not in the highly advanced countries where it is not needed, but still we have other ways and means to help the poor in every country by, for instance, introducing Khudam homeopathic system. Now the same goes for the people beyond the age of 40 till death. They too are organized in a discipline called Majlis Ansarullah. Then the women are also divided into two groups. One from 15 on to the last breath. All women are organized as lajnah, and they take care of themselves, all the requirements of women. And then young lajna, or Nasiratul Ahmadiyya I should say, they are from the age of 10 to 15. Again, with that amendment, that younger girls are also encouraged to participate just for their training, but not compulsory essentially. Now these are the reforms which were effected by Hazrat Muslim Maud, the promised reformer in Ahmadiyya, but not a prophet of God. So with this system, care has been taken that for a very, very long time, generation after generation, the good work of the promised Messiah will not go to waste. So that wind of peace to which I referred in the prophecy of Hazrat Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam will not end up suddenly like the mullahs believe, the ordinary people believe, in 40 years. No mention of 40 years is made in that hadith where the advent of Messiah is clearly spoken of. It's a very important hadith for every Muslim to read. It speaks of the Yajuj Majuj, it speaks of the Messiah and his people and what they will do and so on and so forth. So this prophecy is carried on to the day of resurrection and mentions no other reformer. But Hazrat Masih, as I have explained, speaks of a reformer within Ahmadiyya, not commissioned by God like a prophet, but a reformer like a mujaddid sort of thing. But his reform would not be regional like a mujaddid, nor confined in a specific short time. Like the work of Masih Maud, his reforms will also become global. Wherever Ahmadiyya spreads, the reforms will go. And also they will become timeless. So this is one type of reformers which we did not only expect, we were told that they would come. Hazrat Masih Maud has predicted on the same lines. for a reformer to be born later on, in the style of the previous one. So this is also a prophecy which is inshallah expected to be fulfilled whenever God so decides. But Hazrat Masih Maud has also spoken of a Messiah to come during the final days of humanity here on earth. He was informed by God that a warner will come before the end of the time, before the end of this world, or end of humanity on humankind on earth. So he says that Messiah will be not a Mubashir Messiah but a Munzir Messiah, in the sense that he will reveal warnings, but nobody will pay any heed to his warnings. Mankind would have become so rotten and corrupt so ultimately that the Messiah's voice of warning will go in vain, like that of Noah. When that happened, when it was rejected, then those who rejected, they were wiped out. So Hazrat Masih Maud has built this theme on these principles. Apart from some prophecies vouched to him by God, or maybe the direction granted to him as to how these things happen and how the world will come to an end, I think his wisdom, built on the Quran and the history of prophets, etc., must have guided him to this, that Allah never destroys a people without sending a warner. So such an event of global importance, where the entire mankind is about to be rejected, how could God do it without sending a warner? When people of a smaller area at the time of Noah were sent a warner who repeatedly told them that you are doing wrong things, and this is what is going to be your punishment, a very grave punishment, which will leave you without any offsprings for history to remember you by. So I think, this is my personal view, that Masih Maud profound understanding of the ways of God and the history of religion could have led him to this conclusion anyway. But apart from that, there could be a specific instruction from God. I'm not saying it definitely because personally I have no knowledge of such a revelation. We find it discussed in Hazrat Masih Maud books, but if there is a definite prophecy, there would be, I believe, this is my personal belief, there would be some, but I can't recall it, unfortunately, at this moment. So I want to play safe as far as the prophecies are concerned, and that is what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying that even if no prophecy, specific prophecy was granted to him, his in-depth understanding of the ways of God, as learned from the Quran and the Sunnah, must have informed him that God will not destroy humanity without sending the last warner. But he will be also called Messiah. And that Messiah will be a Jalali Messiah, not Jamali Messiah. So when Islam discusses these things in such detail, then I'm driven to believe that he must then I'm driven to believe that he must have received some information from Allah. That is why I'm repeatedly mentioning it. But because I can't recollect, so I use safe language. he could not have, learnt of such detail from the history of religion, that he will be not a Jamali Messiah but a Jalali Messiah, while the concept of Messiah is that of softness and love and deliverance of glad tidings. According to Masih Maud, not in the case of that one. It will be a manifestation of Allah's grandeur and might and wrath in the end. So to warn them, if you behave yourself, you will be spared. If not, then your days are numbered. So in answer to that question, I think that is all I can say presently.